Right from the beginning when I received this product, this packaging is already intrigued me, while the other brands such as the Moondrop or C Audio using anime style kind of girl as their mascots, but this Ikko decided to use this more of a American cartoon style, which is really interesting. And as you could see, the package itself is already really interesting. And the item itself, again, they have a really unique aesthetic to it. So thank you for Ikko for providing me with this review unit, and hello and welcome to Aftersound Review, and this is my review for the Ikko Opal Oh2 that costs around $80, and it's using only a single dynamic driver. So just like usual, I will break down this review from the build, fit, frequency response, sound, and comparison. Not gonna lie, I really love how they look. I mean, just take a look at that. It's really somehow more kind of robotic and futuristic kind of IMs. And please take a look. The ear tips and also the nozzle is really unique. Instead of the standard round shape, they are using more of a oval shaped. You see this? Easier like this. And the ear tip itself is somehow looks like a Darth Vader's head. There's a longer side in here rather than this part. So yeah, it's not symmetrical in design. It's really nice. It's using MMCX connectors, and the cable itself, how you could see a shade of darkish gray and also red and blue. Somehow it feels like a robotic kind of cable. So yeah, wrapped on the build itself from the top to the bottom, it feels like this kind of robotic futuristic kind of theme is going on with this IM. For me, the ergonomics is simply excellent. Just take a look at this. It fits my ears perfectly, and even the ear guide is just sitting there helping with the stability perfectly like this. So it's not only fit the inner side of my ears, but it's also really stable. You can see that I'm moving my head like this and I have no problem. It's really stable and it sits flat in my ear. And I just need to tell you a little bit of a strange thing, that it doesn't really seal. So if you want maybe a higher level of seal, you could simply change the ear tip using a more usual round shape kind of ear tips, but personally I like this fit better. Frequency response wise, I somehow categorize this as somewhat a neutral dark IM maybe, because if we're talking about the bass, it's mostly almost really flat. It's just you get that little bit bass bump, and also there's a raise in pinna gain area around 3K, and after that there's a huge steady roll off after the 5K peak. So yeah, the treble roll off is quite fast, and the rest of the frequency is mostly somehow neutral-ish. So I have tried this Ikko Opal Oh2 using several of my sources, and you could drive them well even using your phone only, and you could enjoy them. It's not really hard to drive, and for me it's a really unique experience maybe, because here's the thing I need to tell you, that using these oval tips, the default stock tips from the Ikko, it doesn't really seal well. So I could it's not really sealing IM, but changing the ear tips using a more normal round shape ear tip such as the vinyl audio type E, giving me much better seal. But in a way, it's kind of giving this vacuum effect, and also the sound will get really dark. So I don't really like any other ear tips rather than its default stock tips that ironically doesn't really seal. Okay, the sound of this IM is more for those who are seeking more of a kind of a laid back and easy to listen kind of IM. It doesn't really goes really resolving or really energetic, but you can really hear them for hours. It never goes, it could never get this fatigue effect for your ears. So yeah, I'm going to break down this sound from the bass first. The bass is just enough bass. It has this kind of mid bass punch that is suitable for a lot of music, but it won't satisfy bass heads. And also it doesn't really dig deep into the sub bass. You don't really hear a kind of a sub bass rumble here. But in terms of mid bass punch and also fun factor and excitement, it's just enough. Going to the mid range, this is where things goes really well. For me, the mid range of this IM is tuned really well and balanced. Here, that's the thing that I really like. And you could really hear a lot of kind of music from this mid-range, from the female vocal and also male vocal, even instruments such as string instrumentals to the piano and guitar. It sounds really well balanced without any harshness or without any metallic and also sibilance. It's a really well-tuned mid-range. You could hear from thick female vocals such as Adele, and maybe you could hear really high pitchy female vocals such as Lisa, and Lisa from Japan, either from Japan or from the Korea. Those different Lisas, you could hear them well using this IM. And also you could also hear thick male vocals such as Josh Groban, and also thin sounding male vocals such as Justin Bieber and also Ed Sheeran using this IM. It just will sound completely balanced and also well tuned. But after the mid-range, after the excellent tuned mid-range, for me the treble is simply too dark for some songs. As you could see in the frequency response, it's mostly there's a rise in the lower treble around 5K, but after that to the 6K and above, it is rolled off. So you don't really hear extension and also shimmering presence from the cymbal crash and also violins. It just don't really goes high up there. But yeah, the tonal is mostly the thing that I really heard about this IM is mostly about that mid bass punch and also this well-tuned mid-range. Other than that, it's not really I couldn't really hear a lot of treble and extension and also the sub bass extension. So the frequency response is like limited, but in that limited frequency, it's tuned really well and balanced. And after that, the technical of this IM is not really good either. Because of that frequency limitedness, you don't really get a sense of complete sounding and clear sounding IM from the top and bottom, and it doesn't really giving you a good resolution either. It's not really resolving. Also, the staging is mostly like a small ball rather than a huge three-dimensional effect. So yeah, actually, if I'm talking about it objectively, it has a lot of flaws here and there, from the lacking of sub bass and lacking of higher treble extension, and also the lacking of technical performance. But subjectively speaking, I actually enjoy this IM because it doesn't give me any fatigue, and I could hear them for hours, and the fit is just excellent. And the unique thing about it is, usually I like my IMs to be isolating really well, but not in this case. This kind of fit is just enough to give me a sense of air, and it doesn't give me that claustrophobic effect, but it gives me this air kind of physical thing, not the air frequency. So yeah, even though it's flawed here and there, in that flaw is also their strength uniquely. But if we're talking about a comparison at the same price point, this Juno Titan S is more complete sounding. It has better sub bass extension, better sub bass rumble into the higher treble extension. So yeah, this I am simply switching from the Ikko Opal Oh2 and then going to using the Juno Titan S. For me, it's giving me much clearer resolution. It's definitely better on the Juno Titan S, and it has deeper bass and also more sparkling high treble, but at the same time it could be a little bit more fatiguing thanks to its more energetic presentation, especially around the upper mid-range. The upper mid-range on this Juno Titan S could give us some kind of shoutiness in some songs, but not in this Ikko Oh2. So again, objectively speaking, when I look at the scoring place, maybe if we're talking about sub bass extension, treble extension, clarity, resolution, macro dynamics, the Untitled S definitely wins above the Ikko Oh2. But subjectively speaking, I find myself to really enjoy this Ikko Oh2, even though I have already the Untitled S. They just giving their very different kind of experience, while the Untitled S is definitely more resolving. But this Ikko Oh2, I could hear them in one day without switching into other IMs without any fatigue. So yeah, I could simply hear them for all days and not complaining about it because the fit is just excellent. It just fits flat in my ears, and also it doesn't really closely isolating my ears, and the bass is fine, the vocal is really balanced. I don't really mind the treble except when I'm hearing classical music maybe, but usually I only hear pop and maybe some rock music, so I don't really have any complaint with that. But yeah, if you are after for much more resolving kind of experience, yeah, just go this to the Untitled S. So in the end, the conclusion for this this Ikko Oh2 is quite unique because they are flawed here and there. I'm talking about it objectively, but those flaws is also their strength. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video reviews, and if you have any question, please write down in the comments below, and see you next time. Bye bye.